era. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived happily ever after. Well, at least that's how she wrote her story. Let's talk about it. Hi! Oh my God! Happy day 1 of 2023. Look at you! You made it. Pull up a chair, grab your snacks and drink of choice, and let's come in and talk about the celebration. Day 1. If you watched the episode with a short yesterday that I posted, we are going to write our story. For those of you that are new, hi, welcome. I am chosen. And this is Beyond Your Reflection. This is a channel created by me, but it's designed for you because we are here to peel back all the ugly layers until we get to the most beautiful parts of you. So come on in the room, honey. Pull up a chair to the celebration and let's talk about it. Welcome, Subbie buddies. Hi. We made it. Yes. It's a whole nother year, you guys. And oh my God, I have so much material for you guys this year. I already started writing. But today. Now, you guys know, you heard the beginning. You heard how I talked about there was once upon a time this little girl who lived happily ever after. Now, for those of you who have followed my channel, you know I am a Disney princess at heart. Yes, even in my adult world. Okay, do not judge over here on these parts. Okay, that's my go-to no matter what. Happy, sad, or in between. Somehow Disney always made it right from birth on up to now. Shout out to Walt Disney. He did an amazing job. But once upon a time, the past year, there was a little girl or a little boy who dreamed about being whatever. But then notice I put the twist. I already added the ending. It's going to be happy ever and then after. It's going to be all of that because that's how you're going to write it. So if you followed me yesterday, I told you today's episode, baby, grab your notebook and your pen because on day 1, you are going to write your story. And I want you to do it every day. Even though next week is going to be a different topic. I want you to write your truth. Write your story. And I want you to write it in present tense. Remember, we talked about last week. For Christmas, we talked about the past is your present that sets up your future. So I want you to write in the now. I want you to write about what this person is and is going to be. I want you to think about it as almost as if it's your biopic. Not Lifetime, because Lifetime will kill your movie. But if anyone can write a story about you, it's you. You know how we always say if you want the truth, you're going to have to come to the source. Well, baby, if it's written and it's in your own words, how else are we going to know about you if it didn't come from you? Yeah, y'all may call it a diary or journal or whatever. No, I call it your story. And I want to read it. I want to know about you. So you got 364 more days. So you got a book that's going to have 364 pages in it. Or however many. You can do front and back, however. But it's going to start today. Day 1. What happened? Well, started off, we woke up this morning. So we started off with gratitude. And then in between, you have to write it. For me, I started out this morning. Today is going to be a great day. It is day 1. I am going to... Back to the vision board, baby. It's going to always start there. So today, I am going to, and then you fill in the gaps. Like I always say, you make a burger. What are you going to put in between? Your bun is the beginning, with top part of the bun, and then the ending. That's the ending. But what goes in the middle, that's your story. I need for you to write it out. Let's say, for whatever reason, tomorrow is not promised. But I have a whole entire story about you. And I'm not saying tomorrow, as in tomorrow. I'm saying whenever the finale show of your actual story ends. Do you understand the power behind it if it's written? That's like with letters. You know, people go back and read letters beforehand and you just get that feeling like, oh my God, that nostalgic feeling. Like, God, I remember this moment. And it may make you feel like warm and fuzzy. Or you may be like, for Mother's Day, I think my son was 13, I believe. He wrote a journal, which I had no idea. So for Mother's Day, that's what he gave me. And it opened up conversations for he and I to have, because these are things that I didn't know that he had going on behind the scenes. Because he get it from his mama. He hid it from his mama when I tell you, bottled it up, put it on the top of the shelf, and keep moving. That was my son. My son felt like he had to put on his persona like everything's okay, because if my mom detects something is wrong, then I'm going to put that burden on her. But when he wrote it down, and you guys, I read it, it gave me a whole new perspective on who my child was. Because I really thought my child was this happy-go-lucky type individual. And deep down inside, my baby was hurting. Well, he was a baby at the time. He's a grown man now. But still, at that time. Because, you can tell people stuff. And it's a different way, the way they analyze it. But when you read it and you see it, it's just like comparing the book to the movie. Like every time you read the book gives you more details and in depth of what's going on. And then you look at the movie, they may have left some things out. They may have added, subtracted, or whatever. And you look at it like, that's not the same thing that I just read. Like, that don't make any sense. I could use Twilight for example. I absolutely love. Who knew? A whole adult. Well, I mean, I'm a Disney person, but who knew that I would enjoy reading the Twilight series? Those books were extraordinary written. Amazing. So when the movie came out, of course I want to go rush and see this, honey. I am Team Vampire all day long. King Edward, as the kids call it. But then when I got to the movies and I watched it, was so not impressed. It wasn't even remotely close to the book. And I was disappointed. Because somebody took her words of what was written, made it into their own, and plastered it up on some TV. Baby, you don't want that to be you. Can't nobody tell your story like you can tell your story. That's why I want you to write it. Starting today, day one. What is it about you? What is it that we need to know or that we don't want to know? What is it that you need to know about yourself that maybe you didn't know? What are some things that you need to change? Maybe you can write it down. Okay, on day one, I'm going to stop eating sweets. Okay, it's written. Write it in pen so that way you can't delete it. Because, if you write it in pencil, you can always go back and erase it. You can easily tear it up, start it over. That's cool too. But regardless, it is your words. It is what you wrote about you. So therefore, if somebody decides to turn you into a production, it's your words. And then when people go back and look at it, they be like, oh my God, I didn't even know such and such lived her life like that. Or he did this and like, what? And now we're getting to know parts of you, peeling back a layer or layers of you that nobody knew about. And even with you guys, it'll start becoming repetitive. Every day, the first couple of days, it may be like, you know what, today I woke up and I ate cereal, the end. Okay. And then tomorrow I challenge you to add 2 more sentences to it. And then the day after that, add another sentence. And before you know it, honey, you got a whole book started about you. And then that book may be able to turn into something different or another book. But it's going to become so repetitive. And then when you start writing your life, I want you to write it as you see it. Not as it was. Not that past tense. Because notice I said once upon a time. That's why I started. And then I immediately wrote it. Oh, she lived happily ever after. She did? How? What did she do in the middle? What did she do in the beginning? Well, she wrote about it. because I saw it. I believe it. I am going to live happily ever after. I am going to be the first millionaire in my family. I am going to produce several films that's going to be on TV. I am going to go back to your vision board. And if we have to, I can pull it out for you tomorrow. Or I can pull it out for you the next episode and we can go right on back to it if you haven't done it by now. But what are you going to do for your life for the better? If there's things about you that you don't like, then what are you going to do to change them? Write it down. Because you know how we could say something in a minute. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And then 5 minutes later, what was I supposed to be doing? I forgot. Yeah. But if you got it written down, I just like with sticky notes. You write it down and you remember, okay, don't forget to call the doctor at 2:30. Boom. Now, in your head, it's mentally is there. But then you walk past the refrigerator like, oh, darn it. Yeah, bing. Light bulb just went off. Same thing about your life. I want you to write it down. Who are you? Who are you becoming? Because we can look in the mirror all day long and we can say it. But if you don't feel it, if you don't embrace it, if you don't believe it, then it's never going to come to pass. They're just words that's written. But I want you to feel what you're writing. Just like I said, with the Twilight series, I read those stories immediately and I was like, oh, wow. Your life has so much value and so much meaning. And I've always told you, your name has power. Write who you are. What makes you so special? What makes you so important? Why do I need to know about you? Now, I will say also, the story that you're writing may not be for everyone to read because this is your journey. This may be something for you to go back and look at. And then you can add to the next page because maybe day one, like I said, day one could just be real bland. Today I got up and I said that I was going to do X, Y, Z. Or you can fill in the gap, build your burger. All right, today I woke up. Today on day one, I promise that I'm supposed to do, I'm going to have, I am beautiful, I am wonderful, I am fearful, all that. I want you to write everything about you that you believe that you're supposed to be, you're supposed to have. Not about the little scared little girl from the past, not her. The person now. What do you want to be when you glow up? That's who you write. That's the story that you tell. Now, you can start it off once upon a time. There was a scared little, or there was a angry little. There was a bitter little. But then, however she did, he did. However, and then you fill in that gap. But then one day, on day one, he or she woke up and realized, I want better for myself. I deserve better for myself. I'm going to have better for myself. And then when you write it down, if you don't like where you are right now, write your way out of it. Write your happy ever after. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does it speak like? Remember your 5 senses of common sense? What do you hear when you talk to yourself? What do you hear? What words are you injecting into yourself? That's what you write. If it's negative, don't even worry about it. That's the page you tear out. Start over. You may have been bitter. You may have been angry. You may have been frustrated. That's not you now. So like I said, you can start off once upon a time. There was an angry, there was a frustrated, there was a girl that didn't have patience. There was a girl who didn't believe in herself. There was a guy who thought he was ugly. There was a girl that was angry. There was a guy that was bitter. However you start, that is not your happy ever after. That is not your ending. That's not even a story. If your story starts and ends the same, baby, that's not worth reading. You need to find your words and use them. Go back to your dictionary Go inside your dictionary. Find you and your name and your words, your meaning and your worth. That's your story. The person that you know that you are, that you believe that you are deep down inside. Who is he and who is she? That's who you write. If you're in an apartment right now and you want yourself in a house, this little girl grew up and she had a 3-bedroom house, a 2-car garage, had an open concept plan, living, kitchen, studio, whatever, man cave, however. Write you. Write your life starting on day 1. That gives you 364 more days. You can start now. May not be where you want it, but by the middle of this story, by the time you get through the middle of the page, you should have evolved into somebody different. And then that's another chapter. The ending chapter is literally the finale show. When you feel like it's over, or the time that you glow up. When you put away those childish things and start acting and responding as an adult, that's a whole nother chapter. Today I didn't pop off, write it. However, I did smile, or I ignored, or I told them, this is not who I am. Don't push me there. I don't want to go back there. I've already written myself away from that. So once you write it, believe it, obviously. But you have to speak it. You have to embed it into you. And then when you speak it, you start feeling it. And then once you start feeling it, that's when you can believe it. And you're going to write it down. Because you're going to start seeing it. You know what? Oh, I do look good in this car that I just test drove. Just because today I felt like it. Oh, I can see myself in this house. I do see myself being married. I do see my films being on TV screen this year. I do see me getting grants. I do see people coming to me to write for their films. Oh, baby, I'm going to have it. Because I've already spoke it. I've already wrote it. And I believe it. Now watch. That's why I am on day 1. I'm writing and speaking and believing and claiming my truth. So what is it about you? Who are you? If you don't know, take time to write. Introduce yourself to you. Reintroduce yourself. The rebirth of self. That's what you can call it. Remember, who you were is not who you're becoming. So write about it. And I can't wait. If you want to share it with me, I'm here for it. Or even if you say, sis, day 1 is complete. I can't wait for day 2. Let's go. And it's going to become so repetitive, you guys. I promise you. And it'll be a bestseller, at least in your head anyway. And that's when you're able to find your happy ever after. When you're able to embrace the true beauty of yourself. Maybe then, only then. That's when that story ends and the next one begins. Once you peel back that layer, that's one part of the story. Put it on the shelf. Start with the next one. But each day is a different day to write your truth. All right? So that's the end of this episode. Day 1 is in the books. Yes. I hope you enjoyed it. Please. Do you mind hitting the thumbs up, giving the like button, just letting me know that you're actually out here in this universe. Oh, and, the famous bell is back, baby. Hit the bell. Can you please let these YouTube streets know that we out here living our blessed life out here in these YouTube streets, okay? And I will see you guys next Sunday. Happy day 1. Write your truth. I love everything about you, and so should you. Until next time, you guys, until next week, I'll see you later. I love you. Bye.